and then you see them, it's braiding. Oh, they are braiding their hair. You see their face, it's so tight. They are braiding, and as they are tightening their face, they are braiding their hair. That's how their hand, they are tightening. Before you know. Hello, my name is Lillian Okibe. Welcome to my channel. People say that protective styles grow hair. From my experience, I've come to see that that is not completely true. There are so many people that have been able to grow their hair long and luscious by wearing protective styles, but there are still so many people that are constantly wearing protective styles. They are moisturizing their hair while in the protective styles. They are oiling their scalp while in the protective styles, but somehow it seems like their hair is not growing. For anything, the protective styling is actually what is causing their stunted hair growth. So if you're watching this video, then you probably fall in this category. So in today's video, I'm going to be telling you why and how your protective styling may be causing your stunted hair growth, and I'm going to be telling you or teaching you how to fix that. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, then please keep on watching. So before we go into the video, I know you may be thinking that like you of all people should not be the one that will be giving tips on protective styling, because if you are not new to my channel, if you've been following my videos, if you've been watching my videos for a while now, then you know that protective styling is not really something I do very often. Like, I wear protective styles, but I do not wear them for long. However, I do them for my friends and my family, and so like I understand the science of protective styling, and I've actually seen so many people that wear protective styles all the time, but it seems like their hair is still not growing, and I've been able to help them get to the root of the problem, and now like their hair is like long, full and luscious. So the things I'm going to be sharing in this video are basically things that I have practiced and I've seen work, you know. So I know what I'm saying. First thing that many people focus on when you talk about protective styling and how to use protective styling to grow your hair is making sure that your hair is moisturized. Like, you're constantly moisturizing your hair while in the protective style, basically not neglecting your hair while in the protective style. So that means that you're constantly moisturizing your hair even while you're wearing your protective styles. You're constantly oiling your scalp and things like that. Moisturizing your hair while in protective style is good, but it's not the most important thing. There are so many other things that are more important, that if you do all those things correctly, you may not even need to moisturize your hair while it's in the protective style, and you're still going to get your desired results of hair growth and things like that. So I'm going to be breaking this down into sections. So the first thing we're going to be talking about is your prep, how you prep or how you prepare your hair even before you go ahead to do your protective style. Now, I feel like this is a very crucial and a very important part that many people overlook, especially if you're not going to be doing your hair yourself. If you're going to go into a stylist to do your hair, the first thing we're going to be talking about here is cleansing. Now, if it's a style that you're going to be wearing for like a week or less, you may not need to think about cleaning your hair or like washing your hair, or basically starting on clean hair. But if it's a style that you're going to be wearing for over 2 weeks, then I highly recommend that you make sure that you start on clean hair, majorly clean scalp. Because when you start on clean scalp, you're not going to need to wash your hair, even if you wear your style for like a very long time. Because you started on a clean slate, it's going to take longer for you to get to the point where your scalp is very dirty and irritated and has a lot of buildup where you need to wash your hair, and that will help you to get good results while you're wearing your style. The problem with doing your protective styles on dirty hair, especially on dirty scalp, is that not long after you install the style, your scalp is going to get itchy, because when you have too much product and build up on your scalp, it tends to start to itch. Now, because for many protective styles you cannot wash your hair adequately, like even if you attempt to wash your hair, you're not going to be washing your hair properly. So there's a high chance that you may not be able to clean your scalp properly. Many people do not even wash their hair while it's in the protective style, you know. So if you do not start on a clean scalp, and then you start after maybe probably a week later, your scalp starts itching, constantly scratching your scalp may seem like it's no big deal. It's not a big deal, but as you're constantly scratching your scalp, you're irritating your scalp, you're probably causing injury on your scalp. And what happens when you have injury? I don't know how many of you have noticed, like sometimes when you have injury on your skin, you notice that part where there is the scar of the injury, sometimes it takes a while before hair starts growing back on that particular spots on your skin. So your scalp is an extension of your skin, so that is similar principle that happens on your scalp. So you don't want to be constantly scratching and causing unnecessary injury, because at the end of the day it may result to you having bald patches on your scalp, and that is not something you want if you want your hair to grow long and thick, you know. So it's always a good idea to make sure that if you're going to be wearing any long-term protective style, it's very, very nice for you to start on clean hair. Now, the next thing you want to pay attention to for preparing your hair before you do a protective style is making sure that your hair is moisturized. Moisturizing your hair adequately before you install a protective style will help to keep your hair juicy enough that it's going to take a while, you know, for your hair to get so dry that it's going to break while in the protective style. There are some times that if you moisturize your hair adequately, like I usually tell people that the way you moisturize your hair when you want to wear your hair out and about is totally different from the way you are going to be moisturizing your hair when you are wearing a protective style. Personally, I usually feel that, like, when I'm doing protective styles for people, I put way more products in their hair than I would have put if their hair was going to be left loose, you know. So I feel like if you want to go long term, because the main reason why many people put their hair in protective style is just to have a break from their hair. So if your hair is in a protective style and you're constantly having to moisturize your hair just like when it is loose, then I feel like that kind of defeats the purpose of protective styling in the first place. So many people want to just have a break from styling their hair, from doing their hair, from like handling their hair, you know. So how you moisturize your hair before you install the protective style matters a lot. You want to moisturize, like, if you usually use like a dime size of product, you want to use like 2 dime sizes or 3 dime sizes of products if you are going to if you are preparing your hair to wear your hair in a protective style long term, you know. That said, you want to make sure that as you're applying your moisturizing products, you're avoiding applying too much on your scalp, because like I said, too much product on your scalp can cause buildup. But like at around the strands of your hair, most especially on the ends of your hair, you want to make sure that you put way more products than you would have put on a normal day if you were not going to be putting your hair in a protective style. That will help to keep your hair moisturized for a long period of time. Like, I've done braids on my sister's hair, for example, that she wore for like 2 months. Throughout the period of the 2 months, she did not moisturize her hair. She did absolutely nothing to her hair. But because of the way I moisturized her hair while I was doing the braids, like before I did the braids, even when we were taking down the braids, her hair was still like juicy and moisturized. Like the outer part of the hair looked like it was not moisturized, but as we were taking down the braid, like her hair was still like juicy and moisturized while we were taking it down, because we moisturized her hair properly before we install the style. So that's very, very important. Another reason why it's important to moisturize your hair, like put more products in your hair than you normally do if you're going to be wearing your hair loose, is that many times, especially if you're going to be wearing your protective styles, if you're going to be doing your styles with extensions, most of those extensions are drying. If you're using like caniculon hair, or you're using wool, or like any kind of hair, most of those extensions are actually drying. So you're going to have those extensions suck out some of the moisture from your hair. So if you put a lot of products in your hair, even after it sucks it out, like your hair is still going to have enough moisture in your hair that it's going to be moisturized even for a while before you're going to have to need to like, oh, like my hair is so dry, I must moisturize my hair. Next thing you want to do while preparing your hair for a protective style is detangling your hair. And this is very, very important if you're not going to be doing your hair yourself, and if you're going to like a stylist that doesn't really know much about natural hair. You want to make sure that you moisturize and detangle your hair before you go to the stylist. The thing about moisturizing your hair is, like, generally our hair, natural hair, is more manageable when it is moisturized, and it is also more manageable when it is detangled, you know. So if it is moisturized and detangled, and if it's going to be a style that requires you to have some form of stretching, then it's advisable that you moisturize, detangle your hair, and stretch it before you go to the stylist. What I mean by stretching, I'm not saying that you have to put a blow dryer through your hair, but like, for example, if you're going to a stylist to get your hair braided, like you want to do regular braids with extensions, it's always a good idea to moisturize your hair, detangle your hair at home, you know, put your hair in chunky braids before you go on to the stylist, so that when you get to the salon, the stylist is just like working with hair that has already been prepped. Failure to do this will mean that you're going to be going to the stylist with your hair like tangled and dry. Now, the problem with tangled and dry hair is that it breaks easily. So if you're going to a stylist that doesn't really know much about natural hair, by the time you come back from that salon, even though you may have put your hair in a nice protective style, half of your hair will be gone. Like but there are some people, many people, like even up till now, I feel like, but it's really sad that by now there are still so many stylists and hairdressers that really do not know how to care for our kind of hair, especially if you have the kinky, coily, tightly coiled kind of hair. If you go to the stylist or to any salon without prepping your hair first, like that means you are prepared to come back with no hair, because by the time they dig their comb into your hair from the roots on dry tangled hair, they dig it into from the roots and pull it out. As they are pulling out the comb, and see half of your hair is going with that comb, like don't even expect any hair to come back with you as they are leaving that, and like they are going to be uprooting your hair and breaking it in the process. You know that I don't know how many of you have had such experience. Like, number one, it's going to be so painful. Number two, you're going to be losing your hair. So if while you're installing your style, because you did not prepare your hair properly, your stylist has already like broken all the little hair that you had before, of course, even if you like wear that protective style and do all the right things, by the time you're taking it down, your hair is most likely going to be shorter than what you started with, because your stylist has already, you know, removed half of the hair that you had before. So it's always a good idea to make sure that before you do any style, moisturize, detangle, clean like I said earlier, and make sure that you prep your hair properly. Now if you have a stylist that knows what she's doing, then you can show up without doing anything to your hair. The stylist will know the right things to do to prepare your hair properly, so that your hair will flourish while in protective style. But if you're going to someone that doesn't really know much, the more prepared your hair is for the style, the more pleasant the experience is going to be. So it's always a good idea to make sure that you prep your hair before you go to do any protective style. So the next step you need to take to make sure that you're getting your results from protective styling is prepping your extensions. If you are someone that likes to do your protective styles extensions, then it's always a good idea to, as you are prepping your hair, you also want to make sure that you are prepping your extensions. Now there are so many, especially if you're using like synthetic hair. Even if you are using human hair, like many of all these extensions, they are chemicals. They were made with chemicals, or like preserved with certain chemicals that can cause irritation on your scalp. So it's always a good idea to, like, I don't know how many of you have watched Natural 85's video where she cleansed her extensions with apple cider vinegar. So you just like put it in apple cider vinegar mixed with water, and like basically rinsing your extensions with apple cider vinegar. That will help to wash away those chemicals that were used to like prepare and preserve those extensions, and that will help to prevent itchy scalp. Now there was one time I think it was 2018 or so, I did like what's it called, Bobby Boss Bay locks on my hair. Like my scalp was so itchy, like, because like there's many of those extensions cause itchy scalp. It all has to do with the chemicals used to, I don't know whether to preserve or to prepare or to produce them, but those extensions can cause itchy scalp. Your scalp may be fine, but as soon as you do some of those you put some of those extensions in your hair, it can become really itchy. So it's always a good idea to make sure that you clean your hair, preferably with apple cider vinegar. You know, just do like a rinse. I'll try to see if I can link the Natural 85's video in the description box, just so that you guys check it out. But it's always a good idea to clean your extensions. Make sure that your extensions are clean before you install them. Next thing you want to do is making sure that the extensions are moisturized. It's always like, it's a good idea to moisturize your extensions before you use them in your hair. Apart from the fact that that will help you to give you more pleasant result, because if you moisturize your extension, it's going to be like shinier and like more pleasant to look at. It's also going to help reduce how drying they will be on your hair. Like I told you guys earlier, there are certain, if you are using caniculon hair, or if you are using like something like wool is naturally drying, you know. So if you moisturize the wool first before you use it in your hair, it's going to make it less drying on your hair. So it's going to make it less likely for it to suck out the moisture from your own natural hair. So it's always a good idea to prepare your hair, and also prepare, if you're going to be using extensions, make sure that you prepare the extensions too, so that you're going to have moisture. By the time they clap together, you're going to have juicy protective styles, and at the end of the day, when you take down the protective style, you're going to have juicy natural hair. But you also want to make sure that you're not putting too much product on the extensions that will end up causing build-up on your scalp. So after you have prepared your hair and you have prepared your extension, so the first thing you want to do, if you're not going to be doing your hair yourself, you want to make sure that you're picking a hairstylist or a hairdresser that knows what he or she is doing. This is very, very important, and that's why you have some people that do protective styles that makes their hair flourish, and you have some other people that do those same protective styles and somehow their hair is just like they don't get the desired result. Most times, like a lot of times, it has to do with their stylist. If he or she does not know what she's doing, find somebody else. I know that sometimes it may be more expensive to get people that know their job, that know what they are doing, but at the end of the day, you're going to be better off for it, you know. Now, if you are someone that you don't want to spend money to get quality stylist, then I highly recommend that like put some time into watching. Like YouTube has so much information right now. Like you can learn so many things on YouTube. There are so many videos on YouTube. If you're in a place where somehow the stylist there do not have like experience or understanding on how to handle our kind of hair, then I highly recommend that you take the put the work in your hand, learn how to do your hair yourself. Like there are so many videos on YouTube that can guide you. Like YouTube is filled with so much information, so watch videos, practice on yourself, and learn how to do your hair yourself. Now, if you're going to be doing your hair yourself, what you need to pay attention to while you're installing your hair is making sure that you do not detangle your hair roughly while you're installing the styles. This is where many people get it wrong. I keep telling you people, your hair is not your enemy. Don't treat it like an enemy. Stop fighting with your hair. You want to comb your hair and you're being so rough. You need to be gentle when you're handling your hair. That is when most people cause damage to their hair. It is while they are handling their hair, while they are detangling their hair, most especially. You need to be calm, you need to be gentle. Do not detangle dry hair. Moisturize your hair before you detangle, and even while you are detangling your hair, be gentle, be patient, be kind to your hair. If you have to first finger detangle before you go in with a comb, do it. If you have to do first detangle with a comb, first detangle with a wide tooth comb before you go in with a smaller tooth comb, do it. Start detangling from your ends. Do not just dig your comb into your hair from the root and pull it out. Like, that is wrong. That is so wrong. That is so wrong. Oh, your hair will go with the comb. Stop doing that. Stop detangling your hair harshly. Calm down and detangle your hair properly. That it is so important if you want to get any desired results as regards to healthy hair or long hair. Also, how you do your protective style matters a lot. Some people believe that no pain, no gain, and then you see them, it's braiding, they are braiding their hair. If you see the faces of some stylists when they are braiding people's hair, I'm always like, is it, why are you fighting with their hair? Like, you see their face, it's so tight, they are braiding, and as they are tightening their face, they are braiding their hair. That's how their hand, they are tightening. Before you know, when you see like some people, when you see after they've done a protective style, it is so tight, you can literally see the tension on the scalp. See some people's hair, like I can just imagine how much pain that person is going through, just because like it's like you're paying money to someone to put you through pain. Like, it should not be so. Painful hair does not equate to beautiful hair. Like, you can do someone's hair, you can do your hair not being so tight and it's still going to look neat and nice. Some people think that you need to, pick every single little tiny piece of hair, into the protective style for you to get your cute, nice look. Like, there are so many people, I don't know how many of you follow Game of Thrones. You can check her out on Instagram. Like, her styles are always so nice and so neat, but you can see that they are not tight. Like, they do not look tight. You can obviously see that whoever is carrying that style, like, there is no form of excess tension on the person's scalp. If every time you go to do your hair you have to wait for like a week before you stop feeling pain on your scalp, then auntie, it's a sign that you need to change your stylist. He or she does not know what she's doing. Like, doing your hair should not be painful. It should not be painful. If after doing your hair you can see that it is tight, like you can see that it is pulled tight, just take down that style. Like, don't wait for 1 week later for the pain to go away. If you can see that it is tight, take it down immediately. The longer you keep those side styles in, the more damage you're going to cause to your hair, mostly your hairline. And it's not even only your hairline, even your what's it called, even the entirety of your hair. That's why you see some people, they have like bald spots on different points of their hair. It's because of excessively tight styling. And I don't know how many of you are watching this that have locks too. This goes for locks too. When you're retwisting your locks, you see some stylists, some people go on their chair with nice full locks that have not been retwisted for like a few months. You can see the person's hair looks so full and luscious and so healthy, and then they retwist it and you can see scalp everywhere, scalp all over the place, all like there's no crime if you do your hair and your hair is not scalpy. It's not until you see, it's not until the pattern is so wide, you're picking every single thing, that the pattern is so wide, the tension is so much, that you have done a good job. Like, you have done any style and it's tight, it doesn't matter how much money you have spent on it. Auntie, take it down immediately. If you are watching this, you are feeling that pain, you just did your hair yesterday and you can feel the pain. You know that it is tight, but you have spent so much money, you don't want to waste the money. It's better to waste that money than to lose all your hair. That's all I have to say. After you have prepped your hair and you have installed your hair, the next step is how you maintain your hair, or how you care for your hair while you're wearing the style. Now this is where most people focus on. So I know that anything I'm going to share now is not new to you. Like, this is something that everyone preaches. Moisturize your hair while it is in the protective style. Make sure you do not neglect your hair and things like that. But the thing is, if you prepped your hair properly, you're not going to need much. You're not going to need to do too much to maintain your hair while in the protective style. For some people, depending on how long you wear the style, you may not even need to do anything while you're wearing the protective style. Like, that is so true, but it's what you're basically doing. Like, if you have prepared your hair well, if you have prepped your hair well before installing the style, what you're basically doing to maintain your hair while in the protective style is to make sure that there is a level of moisture that's like optimal. You're trying to make sure that it doesn't drop too far below it. So what does that mean? Doesn't mean that you have to be moisturizing your hair every day or every 2 days, because your hair is in a protective style. Number one, the fact that it's in a protective style means that it's not going to dry as fast because it is bound. Number two, if you have prepped your hair properly and moisturized your hair very well, it's going to take a while before your hair will actually dry. So what you're just doing is trying to make sure that you pay attention to your hair, to make sure that your hair doesn't drop below the moisture level of your hair, does not drop below what is acceptable. That means below the point where it's going to be so dry that your hair is going to be breaking while in the style. If your hair is dry in a protective style and you're constantly moisturizing your hair, most times, that's why it's very important to moisturize your hair before you do the style, because while your hair is in a protective style, whether you like it or not, you're not going to be able to really get in to really moisturize your hair while in the protective style, especially if you did your style sorry, especially if you did your style with extensions. It's going to be very difficult for you to really get in there to moisturize your hair. So moisturizing your hair before you do the style is like very important. But while you're wearing the style, you should just do light spritz. This is where you need like things that are light. You don't need something heavy to be going in heavy, because at this point, if you're moisturizing your hair while in the protective style, if you're not careful, you're going to be putting so much product on your scalp, and that can cause build-up on your scalp. And like I mentioned earlier, you do not want build-up on your scalp. So you want to make sure that you're using light things, basically spritz, just to top up on the moisture, to make sure that your hair doesn't dry out too much while you're wearing the style. So the next point we're going to be talking about is the takedown. This is also where many people cause a lot of damage. Every protective style has a lifespan. How long your style will last will highly depend on how you prepped your hair and how you maintained the hair. It doesn't really matter whether the style still looks good or not. It all has to do with the moisture level of your hair while in the style. So there are some styles that you can wear, like sometimes you can do like braids, for example. You can wear the braids for up to 2 months and your hair will still be in amazing condition when you take it down. Sometimes you can do the same braids, you can wear it for like 1 week and like your hair is already crying for moisture, and you really need to take down the style to adequately moisturize your hair because you not do the right things. So the takedown is so important, because number one, the takedown has to do with knowing when it is time to take down the style and not going way beyond the limit of your hair. If you've gotten to that point where your hair, you can feel it that your hair is now super dry, like it is so dry, then it's a high chance that it's time for you to take down the style. It doesn't matter when you moisturize, or rather when you install the style, whether it was 1 week ago or 5 weeks ago. After that, how you take down your style is also very, very important, and I feel like many people overlook this. You know, you also need to be very careful and very gentle when you're taking down the style. Depending on how well you prepped your hair and how well you maintained your hair, the takedown can be easy or it can be difficult, and also how long you wear the style. The longer you wear your style, the more difficult it's going to be for you to take down the style. It doesn't matter what style you have done. The longer you go from the day of installation, the more difficult it will be to take down the style. So you really want to bear that in mind when you're taking down your style. You need to be patient. If you have worn the style for a long period of time, for up to a month or more, you want to be aware that you're going to have 1 month worth of shed hairs in your hair. And what happens? That's the principle behind locks. You know, those shed hairs, whether your hair is in a protected style or not, those shed hairs will uproot from your scalp, you know. So they remain in the hair, and because it just like you have hair that is connected on the scalp, and then you have hair that is bound, that same hair is bound at the, you know, body of the hair, you know, then it uproots from your hair. So normally it's going to fall, and as it falls, because our hair is not like straight, as it falls, it's going to fall like in a coil. And so most times as it's falling, it's causing tangles in that particular hair, or like that particular protective style that you have done. So you want to be aware that yes, I have worn my style for a month, I have worn my style for 2 months or more. You should be aware that I have 2 months worth of shed hairs in my hair that most likely would have caused some form of tangles or tangling in my hair. So when you're taking down your style, you want to be patient when you're doing that. You also want to make sure that also how you maintain your hair and how you prep your hair will also determine whether when you're taking down your style, your hair is going to be dry or a little bit moisturized, or like really moisturized. If your hair is dry, you want to make sure that you try to moisturize your hair before you take down the style, because like I said, moisturized hair is easier to manage, it's easier to manipulate. Even when you're taking it down, it's going to be easier. So you want to make sure that you moisturize your hair. Now by moisture, I'm not saying you must put like, let me not say moisturize, let me say you want to make sure that you have some form of sleep in your hair, just to make it easier for you to detangle your hair and unravel the style. Because especially if you have worn your styles for long, you're going to have more tangling than normal. So you want to make sure that you're kind, you want to make sure that you are prepared in such a way that your hair has enough sleep, such that taking down will be easier, and you're not going to cause too much breakage. I feel like this is what many people overlook. And so even if the stylist has done a nice job and probably they moisturize their hair, they oil their scalp and everything like that, but during the takedown, if they're not patient enough, they may end up like just rushing through the process, and that can cause a lot of breakage. So all the hair that you may have grown before, you may just lose everything just because you were not patient and kind enough while you were taking down your style. So the principle behind protective styling is basically to keep your hair bound in such a way that you don't need to be doing too much to maintain your hair, and so you're keeping your hair away from frequent styling and frequent manipulation so that it's not going to break. That's basically the concept behind protective style. But if you put your hair in a protective style and then anytime you come in contact with your hair, even if it's after or before you install the protective style, if you're not kind enough, you're breaking your hair, then you're basically not going to be getting the results of protective styling, because after the protective style, all the hair growth that you may have grown because of your bad hair practices, you're going ahead to damage all the progress you've made. You have destroyed them, and so you're not going to be getting the results that you desire. So I hope with this video you guys already know, those of you that are having issues growing your hair with protective styles, I hope with this video you guys have figured out what it is that you're doing wrong, and I hope you guys found this helpful. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and if this is your first time on my channel and you like to see more videos like this, then subscribe and hit the notification bell down below so that you get a notification every time I upload a video. Thank you so much for watching. See you guys in my next video.